Pop culture is more than just entertainment. It's a lens into society, relationships, and human behavior. I'm Grace, and here on the Grace Report, we dive into stories beyond the headlines. Whether it's reality TV drama, celebrity scandals, or royal family intrigue, I'm here to break it all down. What it means, why it matters, and how it reflects the world we live in. Join the conversation, share your take, and let's make sense of the culture shaping our lives one story at a time. Good morning, sunshine. Happy Wednesday, or should I say happy hump day. We're halfway through the week. And look, like clockwork, as soon as I start speaking, as soon as I go live, someone gets up and is probably about to go drink some water that she had all day to drink and didn't want to drink until now. Yeah, I'm talking about you. How are you guys doing today? I hope you guys are having a great week. I was so exhausted this morning. I was like, thank God for caffeine, because I had to drag myself out of bed. I just was wiped out. And I made myself a nice little cappuccino, and boom, just like that, I had all the energy. I forgot I was even tired. I was like, thank God. Whoever came up with this stuff, discovered this stuff, or whatever, is a demigod, okay? By the way, thank you so much to I Am Strange for signing up for our channel membership. I'm so happy to have you on board. We've been pumping out those exclusive videos back to back to back, and I hope you have a great time checking them out. Good morning to Ramster as well. And yeah, we're going to get into that. Like her dynamic, Jasmine from 90 Day Fiance, of course, her dynamic with Matt is just so strange. And I'm really excited to dig in with you guys. And I'm glad you're back today. Jamie, good morning. Amelia, Tamara, Cami, Cole, Random, Handle. Good morning, Acacia, Michelle, Jaleesa as well. Hey, Boo. Hey, Liv. Hey, Venetia. Venetia, how was it celebrating your birthday, by the way? We didn't get to get... No, it wasn't your birthday. It was your son's birthday, I think it was, right? How was it celebrating? Did he have a good time? Did he enjoy all the wonderful surprises y'all had in store for him? Good morning, Deshauna, Jess. Oh, so sorry about your first snow, or maybe congratulations, depending on how you feel about it. And I'm seeing so many of you guys pour in as well. Hey, Princess. Hey, Claire. Hey, Mexican Fairy, Minnie, Caitlin, Cynthia, and so many more. So nice to have y'all here today. Listen, we got quite a bit to discuss. That divorce between Todd and Kandi is just woof, okay? I was quite surprised to hear this new story, or this new update and development, and it is that Kandi is now clapping back with documented footage from their wedding spinoff special. Do y'all remember? Did you get to watch their wedding spinoff special, by the way? It was very interesting. Like I said, I haven't finished. I was watching the new Diddy Reckoning documentary over on Netflix that 50 Cent just dropped. So I haven't been able to finish seeing the road to marriage for these two. But overall, just to give you guys a little bit of a catch up, yesterday we spoke about how Todd is filing for sole or primary custody of the children. He wanted final decision making on pretty much everything. He says that the kids are at home living with him while Kandi travels for work, being the breadwinner. And he said that she's expected to be traveling for a couple the next following months as well. So to him, it makes sense that he becomes the primary or the sole giver of the children, right? And he's also contesting that prenup. One thing about Todd and his scheme is that he's not, he's from around the way. He's leaving here with something, and he wants to fight back against all that was written in the prenup that he and Kandi had, which to me is absolutely insane, right? Because the prenup literally just said, from what we saw on the show, they get to both keep what it is that they came into that marriage with, and then the things that they earned in the marriage are being split. He's not entitled to her retirement. He's not like a life insurance or a whatever beneficiary, all those sorts of things. But, anything that he worked on with her, he already got a 50-50 split on. So I personally do not see what there is to fight over. It kind of seems as though he just wants Kandi's money in general. And that's a really, really bad look on him, right? So Kandi is not one to mess around with her coins. And so now, according to Us Weekly magazine, she and her legal team are turning to Bravo to help her fight Todd's claims. Remember how Todd said that he was handed the prenup without legal counsel, and he was forced to sign it at the last minute, and he wasn't prepared. And so, the validity of it is null and void, essentially. Well, Kandi has it on record that she had been trying to get this man to sign that prenup for a minute, and that he said out of his own mouth in his conversation with her lawyer while signing this prenup that he was doing so of his own accord, his own free will. He was not threatened, coerced, or anything like that, right? Look at him. You could just see it in him, his posture, everything. He was so mad, like he was finally up against the wall. He tried to do everything to talk Kandi out of this, or to scare Kandi out of, sticking through to this prenup situation. And so he was finally cornered and defeated, and he was really, really upset about that. And he wound up signing. And so, so let's get into what exactly it is that Kandi's lawyer said. Okay. So they said, and I quote, "The parties' journey to executing an enforceable prenuptial agreement was filmed and broadcast on Bravo Television Network with the knowledge and consent of both Burris and Tucker for their 5-part reality television wedding documentary entitled Kandi's Wedding that premiered on June 1st, 2014. And, in this particular scene that you're seeing in this photo, this is what they're recalling when they say that Todd Tucker, quote, audibly announced that he was good to sign the prenuptial agreement during a private encounter with Burris and after talking to his lawyer on and off camera. So, they truly, truly are fighting back here. And again, Todd is not going out without a fight. He has some really good lawyers as well. His lawyer is the same one that handled Nene Leakes' prenup. It's the same lawyer that handled all of Portia Williams' divorces and everything. So he's putting her money to good use there, right? So again, this is going to be quite the dispute. Don't forget that one thing that they went over, and something that upset Todd in the prenup, was that Kandi had very clearly stated that in the event of breakup, divorce, whatever, he would have to move out of that home within 30 days. And then Todd was negotiating for, and he eventually won, the fact that he wouldn't have to move out of the property, the estate, the compound in 30 days. In fact, he would be able to move to the guest house. But from what we've seen on social media, he is still very much living in that main house. And based off of their divorce filings, they have been separated for quite a while. So I do kind of feel like this is probably maybe the biggest thing that Todd is contesting in the prenup. I think that Todd wants to be able to keep that house for himself. And with him filing for sole primary custody of the children, he is going to use that as his kind of, key to being able to stay in that house, saying, hey, listen, I am the primary caretaker of these children. I do not want to disrupt their lives, running around looking for a new home. I should be able to keep the house. So again, we're going to have to wait and see how all of that ultimately winds up playing out. Just because he asked for that sort of a custody agreement doesn't mean that it is granted to him. So we're going to have to wait and see how Kandi responds to that, and who ultimately winds up winning in this battle over the children, right? I do think and hope that they're going to be able to get a 50-50 agreement or a shared agreement, because this feels very, very aggressive. Venetia, sorry, I don't know why. I thought it was your son. It was my daughter's birthday, and yes, she enjoyed her birthday and got the gift she wanted. Yes, love that. So happy to hear the update. Thank you. Terry says, traveling doesn't mean she stops communicating. He's a grifter. Exactly, right? I feel like you can't just punish the working parent, the breadwinner parent, for being out on business trips. I think it's very normal for parents to go off on business trips. So I don't personally see the strategy working. I think it's a desperate bid from a grifter, right? Trying to sink his claws into Kandi's money and to stake his claim in Kandi's house as well. That was bought well before he came into the picture. Theo says, Todd, the ultimate schemer, showing his true colors. Yes, indeed. Unfortunately, her mother, Mama Joyce, did indeed call it. She knew he was all about the money at the end of the day. And, guys, as we're watching those clips continue to play out on TikTok about those weird conversations in the glam room that he would be having with Kandi and her friends and stuff, very red pill against women, very incel-y. It's just become more and more evident by the day. And yes, Coley, it's so sad. I hate that Mama Joyce is right, because I don't think that Mama Joyce is looking out for Kandi. I think that Mama Joyce was looking out for Mama Joyce. You know what I mean? And the fact that he proved her right just upsets me so much. By the way, good morning, Ronnie. Good morning, Kahara. Nice to see y'all. Claire says, it's crazy how he kept yelling, I don't want your money, to Kandi on the wedding special, yet here we are now. He was filing for alimony and against the prenup. Exactly. That's what it comes down to. And it is so freaking sad. She had him living high off the hog. She was buying him so many luxury gifts, so many expensive cars, all of these things that if he were running low on money, he can go ahead and pawn. And on top of that, they were owning businesses together, opening them, sorry. And in opening them, she was making him a 50-50 partner, despite these investments coming from her. And so those are other things that he got. Like, it feels like he should be just fine, but greed, right? Greed makes people do very, very crazy things at the end of the day. And she says, yeah, oh no, you're sick. I'm sorry. Get well soon, Angie. I'm glad you can join us still, but it sucks to be down, with a cold. Lord. Hopefully things warm up for you guys soon. And good morning, Amanda. Nice to see you. Princess says, you can't get divorced in Georgia unless there's a child support order. So he's probably trying to get every penny he can scrape. You can bet your bottom dollar that that's exactly what it is. Todd, the disrespect that you're able to see now, in hindsight, is absolutely crazy. I don't know how he was able to kind of skate or fly under the radar for so long. Hey, 2 snaps. Nice to see you, boo. Oh Lord, I hope you weren't taken to the cleaners for child support either, Princess. So sorry. Oh my God. And yes, Ramster, I'm so looking forward to talking about that documentary. I'm going to try to squeeze in more of that at the end of the episode, because it was wild. I honestly need a detox after that. I think I want to watch Real Housewives, the wife swap stuff, because the Diddy documentary, you guys, that just came out, happy holidays, Tiffany, nice to see you, is crazy. Okay. It is. I just finished watching the second last episode, and I'm halfway through the final episode, and I'm still so rattled by the stuff that I have seen about this man. This man is just so evil, so vile, so disgusting, so depraved. It's sickening. It really, really is. And it's a hard watch. I can't lie to you guys. It really, really is. So if you're going to be watching it, I do advise you to make sure you have a palate cleanser on hand, maybe even between episodes. Give yourself a break, because it's brutal, especially when they start playing the Cassie videos. And when they start, the people start talking about what it is that he was having Cassie do with them and stuff, it was rough. It was rough. Now I'm at the part where Lil Rod is talking about waking up feeling pain in his rectum and stuff. He's like, oh God, what was happening to me? It reminded me of that film, Blink Twice, produced and directed by Zoe Kravitz. It's brutal. It's not an easy watch at all. Now, you guys, I do want to continue with Housewives news. Okay. So I want to bring up the Osefo family from the Real Housewives of Potomac. Guards, bring them out. So there you go, you guys. Eddie and Wendy, I do have an update for you. A lot of people had been saying that a judge denied their request to be tried separately. However, sources are saying that what actually did happen when they faced the judge in court yesterday in Maryland, they said that Wendy and Eddie both appeared, and they told the judge that they changed their mind about wanting to be charged or to be to fight their own cases separately, right? So there's somebody who was actually there in the courtroom who says that they declared that they wanted to move forward as co-defendants. And so the judge ultimately wound up agreeing to that. So shout out to the What Else Is Going On podcast for actually being there in the courtroom to report on what happened. Okay. So yeah, you guys, their next hearing is going to be on December 19th. Listen, that is when I head out for Christmas vacation, FYI. For those of you who don't know, from December 19th to listen, I can't tell you until when. Listen, I can't tell you until when. I'm not trying to have a Wendy Eddie Ostefo situation, like a real version though, allegedly. But I'm going to be away. I'm leaving on December 19th to go to Sevilla in Spain when they have their second hearing. So I'll be able to post about this on like Threads or something, but I don't know about being able to make an actual video. Okay. So Wendy, she has since addressed these massive felony charges against her and her husband. We saw them make Instagram posts about it. We saw her say on the BravoCon stage that these are just allegations for the time being. So listen, she seems confident enough, but they always do. Karen seemed overly confident, and we all saw how that ultimately wound up, playing out, right? So we'll just have to wait and see how things turn out. You guys already know, I unfortunately, and so sorry to East Awesome if you're tuning in, boo, but I unfortunately do believe that they're guilty, and I do believe that they're going to be condemned, they're going to be charged or sentenced or whatever. And that these are going to be some pretty long prison sentences. So sorry in advance. Like, this stuff is bad and the evidence against them is indeed overwhelming, right? Just saying. And I agree, Milan, let these people take a plea deal. Don't get too cocky. People have been speaking out, though, about how that could impact their ability to, qualify for home insurance in the future. And this is my question for you guys, actually. So if these two are convicted and then they're no longer able to get home insurance, what happens, right? Because you legally have to have home insurance. So what happens? Like, they just have to live without home insurance, and if anything ever happens, they have to pay out of pocket for you. Like, I just have so many questions about that in general that I really need to dig into, because it's crazy. Of course, this could also impact Eddie professionally, given that he is a lawyer. This could potentially lead to him facing sanctions, including disbarring. People have been wondering about their immigration status as well, particularly Wendy's. I think Eddie was born in the United States. However, Wendy and her family immigrated to the United States. And so all these things can potentially be impacted by their case and whether or not they are found guilty. Ooh, pray tell, Terry, is it this case that you're saying is heavy in December 19th? Let me knock on wood. Let me touche le bois that everything goes well December 19th. Ronnie says guilty. Listen, I think most people find them guilty, especially except for our boo East Asa. It just does not look good for them at all. Jess, wow. Well, I'm glad you get to get off on the 19th and to have 2 weeks off. How are you going to be celebrating your 2 weeks off? Do you have a vacation plan? Do you have a nice weekend? What are you going to be getting up to? Good morning, Ramel. Nice to see you. Happy Wednesday. Snap says they are guilty, and each time I see them flex on RHOP, I cringe. Remember last week's episode, or Sunday's episode, I should say, Wendy's got the budget. Wendy's got the budget, and her mom bragging about how, like, their money has her looking good. And I put good in quotation. Listen, they are paying for that bleaching cream. They are paying for that boob job. They're paying for that tummy tuck, that lipo, and whatever else she's on, whether it's, so what do you call these things? Manjaro, Ozempic, you name it. It's absolutely insane. But here's what I think, Carly, even as a renter, you do have to carry insurance. So I kind of wonder, is there a special insurance or something, or like maybe they'll have to pay like up the wazoo to have insurance? Like, I'm so curious about it, because this is such a weird place, or position to put yourself in, right? When he says they'll be able to get it, but likely have to pay. That's what I'm thinking too. Like, it's not going to be that typical, well, how much do y'all typically pay? Listen, here for my apartment here, I pay like 13 euros a month for my insurance. You know what I mean? But I feel like if I were convicted on home insurance fraud, maybe I'd have to pay like 213 euros a month. You know what I mean? I don't know. Milan says, this is Jussie Smollett all over again. Smollett, they can, but they will be charged double for insurance. Womp, womp, womp. Eddie and Wendy, I thought y'all were better than this. I thought y'all were smarter than this. I can't believe it. I'm still so disappointed that this even happened. Ooh, that's so fun. I love that, Jess. You deserve every minute of that sleep, eh? Oh, wow. Well, happy 53rd wedding anniversary to your parents, Tamara. That's so beautiful. Jesus. Love that. Ramel says, I just don't think it's going to go well. She was desperate for the cast members and public to think she had it, but never thought about their kids. I just call them smart dummies. I think you mean, yeah. I think it comes down to that too, wanting to stunt. And for what? For who? Like, she doesn't know us. Like, and RHOP is the budget housewives. It's okay to be low budget on the budget housewives. You know what I mean? Like, nobody's really got it like that. In fact, I was so excited when Jazzy came on the show because I felt like, with her being a football player, like we're going to get some real wealth. And then, she showed up in her beautiful townhouse. I said it's beautiful, but it's a townhouse, like on the Real Housewives. Like, it's very much the low budget housewives. So she didn't need to do all that. She was already doing really good, like, as far as that franchise was concerned. I did always wonder how the heck is a professor and a lawyer salary paying for all this and, a bunch of Hermes, Chanel, like, it's just, sorry, these are great professions. However, they're not paying for this kind of lifestyle at all, not even close. Lexi says, I closed my business from the 20th of December to the 6th of January. I can't wait. I love that. Ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. Lexi, the business mogul. Yes. Oh, Lord, that is so good. I love that you've got your time carved out for yourself. Myself, I think I'll be back to film. Listen, I will film some stuff from Spain. Right. But I don't know that I'll do like a live or anything like that. We'll have to stay tuned on that. Listen, you guys, I want to talk about Miley Cyrus's engagement before we get into the 90 Day Fiance and the Kail story and then wrap it up with Diddy. Okay. So Miley Cyrus, by the way, every time I see this photo, I go, holy crap, is she ever the spitting image of her mother? And this is with a lot of plastic surgery, right? Miley naturally does not really look like this. She was naturally very, very pretty already, right? But she's had a lot done. And I kind of wonder, like, was she purposely trying to look as much as her mom as possible or not? Because this very well could be her mother. I'm just saying, no offense, but they even look like age mates to me. Anyway, very, very lovely. This is her with her fiance. They have officially announced that they are engaged after 4 years of dating. This seems to be a very nice, very calm, very stable relationship for Miley. Her relationship with her ex-husband, Liam Hemsworth. Oh my God, what a roller coaster that was, right? That's your typical first love, young love, relationship, right? On and off, crazy, toxic together, but you don't want to, I think on both sides, they didn't want to see each other with another person. Then they go ahead and get married thinking that that's going to fix everything. Then they get divorced months later because, they never should have gotten married in the first place, all that stuff. And then after the divorce, we saw Miley dating everybody. Wasn't she dating some kind of Cody Simpson from the Australia? She was dating a woman. I think it was Bruce Jenner's ex. Fake wife. He had a wedding and everything just to find out that he wasn't married. Like she was really running around zipping it and doing it, right? And then she quietly started dating this guy. Hang on, let me pull up my notes so I could even know what his name. His name is Max Mirando, right? So she quietly started dating this guy. And then they've been together ever since, which I think is quite lovely. Let me give you guys a close-up of her actual engagement ring. Listen, I think it suits her very, very well. All right, hang on. First of all, I really love this nail polish color. I think it absolutely looks lovely on her. And then what is it? Is it a cushion cut with an east-west setting in like a signet ring style? Listen, it looks nice on her. I think it fits her vibe. One thing that always stuck out to me about her engagement ring with Liam Hemsworth, I personally loved it. I thought it was really beautiful. But Miley always said that it was just not her style and that she hated it. She was saying this while engaged and married and stuff. You know what it means? Sorry, let me repeat that because this notification was loud. She was saying that while she was engaged and married to Liam Hemsworth. And that always stuck out to me like, damn, like, how is it that you hate your engagement ring? Like, your man does not know you well if you hate your engagement ring, right? Like, can I ask you guys? I haven't done a mic check in a hot minute. I want to ask you guys how you feel about engagement rings being a surprise, right? Because it can go one of multiple ways, right? So the first way is that you despise it. Like maybe this guy just doesn't know your taste at all, gets you something that is just not you or this person, because some of y'all, could be engaged to non-men, in which case, hell yeah. Or it could be something that you're lukewarm on, right? You don't hate it. However, again, it's still not really exactly your style. Or it could be something that's perfect for you, right? Or maybe even something that you wouldn't have chosen. That's something that stuck out to me in a positive way, I should say, about Tamara, the twin with the other twin, Tia and Tamara. She said that her ring is a surprise or was a surprise. And it's not something that she would have chosen herself. However, she absolutely loves it. And I think it's really beautiful on her too. I love the braided band. I think braided bands are so criminally underrated. Anyway, listen, one thing about me is I'm a magpie. I could talk about jewelry forever, right? So that was my mic check for you. How do you feel about engagement rings being a surprise? Should the person being proposed to or presented the ring have a say in the design? Like, should they have full control? Should they be presenting options? Like, how did you do your engagement ring situation? Or if you were not engaged or haven't been engaged, how would you like for that to go down? Let me know. Okay, so let me go ahead and put up her old ring. This is the ring that she got from Liam Hemsworth. Again, I loved it. It had a really cute antique kind of vintage feel to it. However, she was not feeling it. And this is her new engagement ring that she got from Max Mirando. So let me dive into the comment section and see what it is that y'all had to say about all of this. I'm really, really curious what y'all had to say about this. I think it's a very, very controversial topic. So I'm so excited to be passing you guys the mic so that you guys can say, what you think about this stuff. Okay. Carly says, why would you accept a ring you don't like? Not me. You know what? I'm kind of thinking maybe it's like, listen, you love the person so much. So you're accepting the engagement and you're choosing to live with a ring that you don't love because you love this person so much, right? And maybe hoping to eventually open up a conversation about slowly modifying it. I have seen some women or brides or whatever go on to slightly tweak the ring slowly over time to be more so their style, because, there's something that's always disgusted me. It's always disgusted me. It's that people feel like women shouldn't have any kind of a say. Look, those things you're seeing behind me are the advent calendars I've been telling y'all about. By the way, in case you're wondering, they're chocolates from Kinder, I think. Jaleesa is not loving that ring at all. A lot of people think that women don't have the right to have an opinion about their rings. It should be like, okay, shut up and accept it. You should be grateful you got like this type of vibe. I remember watching Millionaire Matchmaker, the Patty Stanger show. And there's this guy, he was like, yeah, like I proposed to my ex with this ring and she didn't like it. And I knew right then and there, she wasn't the one for me. I'm like, why? Because she had an opinion? Like, huh? Like, I think it's just so gross the way that like a lot of people feel like women should not have opinions on things. So I'm really, really curious what you guys have to say when he says that she loved hers. And it was a big surprise too, which I think is so cool. So it seems like, your partner really, really knew you inside and out. I think there's something nice about leaving room for surprise. I like the idea of like, maybe showing multiple options or something like that. Let me tell you this story about this one guy. I was like, absolutely never in your freaking life. This guy was trying to push me into an engagement, right? And he already had a ring from his last engagement that didn't work out. He's like, it has to be this ring. I was like, yeah, no, you and your ring can get the hell up out of here. It's not happening. Hell no. Have you guys ever had that when someone tries to force you into like their ex's ring? Or like, what about heirloom rings? Some men love that. They'll be like, no, I've got this ring from 1835. This has been passed down in my family. You have to wear it too. And it's this thing that's just not your, taste or vibe or whatever. Like, Lexi says, it's like those dudes who buy their girls I hate that. A silver ring when they only wear gold. My friend picked and designed her own ring and is very happy. I think I would want a surprise, but I'm picky. You see, like it's one of those things, like you like the idea of the surprise, leaving the room to be impressed. But at the same time, you're like, damn, my style is so specific. I don't know. But yeah, I hate hearing these stories from these girls because I think like the type of jewelry you wear is so obvious, right? Like if you're only wearing white gold or yellow gold, like people know they catch on to that. And like, they should at least have that down. Maybe you don't know the color cut clarity of the actual diamond itself or whatever stone or what, like, you know what I mean? But come on, like the setting, please. Wow, Star, this is amazing. I'm your top watched YouTube channel. Thanks, that's awesome. I didn't even know they did that on YouTube, these wrapped things. That's so cool. I was looking at my Spotify wrapped. Actually, I was about to fight my sister. I was about to book a flight to Canada and go whoop her ass because I share my Spotify with her. And my Spotify had my my top 5 albums, right? So Cowboy Carter, Renaissance, Lemonade, and then like the 2 other albums are like these random things that she listens to. And I was like, wow, I could have had that trifecta. I could have had self-titled. I could have had 4 up in there. And look at you. Wow, I'm gonna have to check that out to know what my wrapped looks like. Thanks so much for that, Star. This is so cool. Thanks for watching, girl. I love that. Love, 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 love that. Julissa says, my ring wasn't something I picked, but I actually love it now. I didn't want to plan a thing. Well, listen, I love that you kept an open mind, right? Like, okay, maybe at first it's not really my thing. However, you learn to love it. So that's nice. Ali wants to know if Miley got her teeth fixed. Are you talking about the big veneers? Girl, let me put that picture back up. You tell me. Did she get the veneers resized? I don't know. And then I want to get back to seeing you guys' comments. Okay, so Caramel says, yes, women have the right to have their opinion to everything, especially their rings. I sold mine, true story. Exactly. I hate when women get criticized for not liking something. If you do not like it, that is well within your right. You are a person with your own taste, with your own everything. You know what I mean? Like, you have a right to like and dislike things. Don't ever let people tell you that you should just be grateful and just accept anything. Like, yes, it's nice, blah, blah, but I think that you should love it, especially if you're supposed to wear it every day for the rest of your life. Like, come on now, come on. Angie says, my hubby was given my Yaya's ring and proposed with that. It's a little small and will cost $130 to resize, so not happening. I used the promise ring he got me as my engagement ring, which I chose, which I think is so beautiful, Angie. I love that. I feel like there's so many like different ways to go about things, right? And it's all about just figuring out, what works best for you and, your relationship in general. Tamara says, I love my ring and the surprise. My husband proposed at a hockey. That is so Canadian, Tamara. Go pick up your Stanley Cup, your bottle of maple syrup. That is so Canadian. I freaking love, love, love that. And yeah, Alexia said, no, absolutely not. Absolutely freaking not. That is not happening. Get out of here. Yuck. That was a total ick. Cynthia says, I was surprised and wish I had an opinion in choosing my ring. I love my ring, but I wouldn't have picked it myself. Ooh, such conflicted feelings, Cynthia. I get what you're saying, right? And about like, loving it, but it's like, I would have chosen something else. Like, just always having I feel you, but I'm happy that you at least love it. Ronnie says, I love my princess cut diamond with sapphire diamonds on both sides of it. That sounds beautiful, 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 beautiful. Right? I love that. And you know what? I do think that they both kind of have that like chunky setting vibe going for them. So let me go ahead, put back up the 2 rings. So for those of you who are just joining, we're talking about Miley Cyrus being engaged to her boyfriend of 5 years, Max Mirando, and how this ring looks to be more so her style versus the original engagement ring that she got from her ex-husband, Liam Hemsworth, right? So yeah, there are chunky bands, yellow gold. This is an east-west setting. The other one looks to be more of a round. I think it was an old mine cut or something like that on an antique setting. Listen, oh God, I love diamonds, especially lab diamonds. What is my favorite cut? Listen, I love a cushion cut. I love an emerald cut. I love old European cut as well. Brilliant. Oh, I love everything, honestly, y'all. I love everything. Oval, round, everything, y'all. And you know what? I didn't think that I liked marquee before, but these days I'm actually really feeling it. Like, I'm feeling it, like, anyway, lots of beautiful cuts out there. So shout out to the diamond gang, or those of you who don't even have diamonds. Maybe some of you guys have like different stones, like a ruby, an emerald, a sapphire. What do some people have? Like topaz and stuff like that. Moissanite. So many great alternatives. Ali says, Grace, I shared my Spotify account once. MGK was one of the top. I was mortified and changed my password and banned my boyfriend. Well, isn't that the worst? Because you're so excited to share. Like, yeah, look at me and my damn good music taste, And then like the person you're sharing it with just like freaking embarrasses you. Like, get the heck out. Go away from me with this, Apollo. Like, ew, like what is this stuff you're listening to? Oh. And then Spotify said my listening age was 79. So my sister, she responded with a screenshot because I love like old school neo soul and stuff, right? That's mainly what I listen to. Like especially Nina Simone. Nina Simone actually should have been one of my top artists because I listen to her almost every day. Bref. So my sister sent me a screenshot of that. It said my listening age was like 79. She's like, oh wow, I saved you. It could have been like even older. I was like, yo, it's supposed to be 95. You ruined it. Trent says, who wants a cursed heirloom? Listen, they're not all cursed. Sometimes, nature just takes its course with people. But the marriages are beautiful and stuff. And there's this beautiful, like, ring that needs something to be done with it. You know what I mean? So why not? Why not? Jalisa, yes, I love a good haircut too. Yes, especially with like the baguettes on the side and stuff too. Mwah, chef's kiss. Deshauna has a sapphire. I love that. It's so beautiful. Y'all listen. One thing about me is I am a magpie. So I'm so excited to be talking about this. First, as my hubby just updated my ring for our 10-year wedding anniversary. I'm so in love with it. I love that. Listen, Farrah, you are living the dream. Upgraded ring, living in Hawaii. Girl, it makes me just want to whip my hair everywhere for you. That would be me every day if I were living your life. Yes, Hawaii. I love that. By the way, you guys, I think I wanted to tell you something, but I forgot what it was. Anyway, listen. Oh, and I've got more Canadians here. Veronica, hey, from Montreal. Nice to see you, boo. Nice to see you. Shout out to my Canadians out here. Congratulations to Miley and her boyfriend on their or her fiance, I should say, right, on their engagement. I think this is absolutely beautiful. Congratulations to them. I remember what I wanted to tell you guys. One of you guys made this comment. I forget who, but they said, it's like the live chat was going too quickly for me, but somebody said something like, I got this ring. I didn't like it. I think it was Allie, and I threw it in the ocean or something like that. I was like, damn, don't mess with her, okay? Good morning, Ashley. Nice to see you. Terry says she doesn't want a ring. She wants a farm. Listen, how beautiful would a farm be? Just walking around in your dungarees, overalls, milking cows, fetching your eggs. Oh, all the sunflowers, all the beautiful things you have, Lord. I love that. Oh, I love that. Being woken up by like a rooster. It's got good it'll do in the morning and whatnot. That sounds really nice. Listen, you guys, I have an ad break for you, okay? We've got some sponsors to the channel that I want you guys to check out. And on the flip side, we are going to be talking about Jasmine Pineda from 90 Day Fiancé and just the way that she's been exposing her, I don't know what this is. Is this her boyfriend? Like, all I can call him is her baby daddy because I never really know if these two are together or not. And then afterwards, we're going to talk about Kail addressing quote unquote rumors. And you're going to find out why I'm saying quote unquote about how she may or may not treat her children differently depending on how she's getting along with their fathers, right? And then we have to finish off with this Diddy story. Listen, it just threw my whole mood off, this Diddy story, this documentary on Netflix. It's really, really terrible to watch, honestly. Like, I recommend watching it, but it's hard. It's hard to watch, I should say. Anyway, check out the sponsors. If you're enjoying today's episode of The Morning Report, please don't hesitate to go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And I'll be right back with some more news for you.
The Morning Report is brought to you by Philo. Watch your favorite shows and movies from over 70 different channels, including MTV, TLC, WeTV, and more for only $28 a month. Get a free trial today by clicking the link in the description box of this video to get your free trial up and running. Tired of learning languages in boring, frustrating ways? Try TalkPal. TalkPal is your personal AI language tutor. It teaches you languages in fun, engaging ways. It gives you real-time feedback, assesses your pronunciation, and the learning process is personalized just for you. Join millions of other learners and start your language learning journey today.
All right. And I am back. Listen, I found the comment I was looking for about the ring. Sorry, Allie. It was actually Terry who said it. Terry said she threw an ugly ring in the ocean and she'll never regret it. Oh, the way that cracked me up. That is too funny. You guys do not play. And I love it. I love it. I love it. Now, you guys, listen. I want to get into that 90 Day Fiancé story, okay? So Jasmine, Matt, oh God. I don't know why they decided to have a kid together because this situation seems so toxic and so unhealthy. They keep talking about how they're never going to really, like, I don't know, get married. Matt He says he only actually even asked to get married to Jasmine or proposed because they have a kid together, not because he actually wants to. He's being pressured by his Romanian community, mother, the values, all that stuff. And then Jasmine says she's been married, divorced several times over, and she's just over it at this point. She's not doing it again. And then she's also been like kind of crap talking him a little bit online. Like I've talked about this in other videos, but I do have some more recent screenshots that I want to get to with you guys. So why don't we go ahead and get started with some of the stuff that she was posting on her Instagram stories just yesterday, shall we? So here's a message that she's posted saying, and I quote, "Unfortunately, ever since I came to America, I've gotten used to being treated as damaged goods and as an object that can be returned as it is broken. All this has caused me a severe depression in me, but I'm stronger than all of this, and I have my babies to look for, so giving up is never an option." And I find that sad. That it is a problem with a lot of these husbands and wives that come over on the 90-day fiance visa, is that the people who bring them over, and Matt's not the one who brought Jasmine to the US, but Gino is, but Gino, we've seen this with Ed, we've seen this with a lot of the Americans, Angela, they really mistreat and abuse these people, and it's really, really sad to witness. And then they try to just get rid of them, and it's so hard to even pick up your life and move to another country. But another thing that's difficult is once you've been living in that country for several years to go back, like I'm thinking of myself in January, it'll be 6 years since I moved here. And just the idea of going back to Canada, like it's almost like as if I'd be leaving, to start over again. It's literally like that, right? And it's a very, very difficult thing. And the idea of being threatened with that constantly, like it sounds absolutely brutal. So I definitely do sympathize and empathize with everything that Jasmine has gone through in regards to that. We saw her try to make things work with Gino. We saw her try to put that coochie down on him and how he didn't want it and everything. Like it was hard for her in that marriage, right? She really worked her behind off to make it work, but the man just was not trying to be intimate with his wife. And obviously, like it's hard to sustain a marriage like that, right? And so that's how things wound up in the place that they're in now. I think if she could choose between being with Gino and being with Matt for some reason, she would prefer to be with Gino, even to this day, right? We saw that play out in the Happily Ever After tell-all, the way that she's constantly flirting with him, even in front of Matt. We also saw her leave she took her panties off on the show, rubbed them all over his luggage, and then put them in his luggage for him to have. That's not something you're doing with someone you hate and want to get rid of, and you're not trying to, get it on with. Like if he was down with it, she would have screwed him in that big house, with Matt listening on in the other room. So she's been posting a lot of mommy content. That's how she makes her money, right? As a mom influencer and whatnot. And so she has this to say about some of those posts and the questions that she's receiving as a result, right? So she says, and I quote, "Thank you all for the positive feedback. I'm going to try to answer some of your questions here. Matt does not help with cleaning. It is an agreement. He provides for us and I keep everything clean. Cleaning is like therapy for me, so it doesn't bother me. My selection of clothes is different now as I'm not allowed to wear immodest clothes around my daughter as requested by Matt and his family. And whether Matt and I are a couple or not, you'll always see him around because of his daughter. Yes, I walk around with a tripod to document my daily life as it generates some small income for me. I'm just a stay-at-home mom." And then she thanks her fans. Another thing that she was posting, I don't know where I put that screenshot, but she was saying like, at this point, men are trash. All of them are trash, including Matt. Like, like don't worry about what they are or aren't. Like she doesn't even know what they are as a couple. And again, like I know that they're trying as hard to make things normal for their daughter and stuff, but this feels very toxic, especially when they're both giving such public statements about the other, disparaging the other. Matt recently did a TMZ interview where he, talks about how like his love for Jasmine is just the fact that they have a kid together and he feels like out of duty he should be with her versus like what his heart actually wants. It's just a lot of just messiness, that I really hate for them, right? At the end of the day, toxic indeed, right? I really, really, I'm not feeling it, to be honest with you guys. I think that it would be healthier for them to go their separate ways, but because of Jasmine's situation, I think they're going to have to continue living together until she can get her green card, at least, right? And so I guess we'll have to wait and see what she does once she gets her green card. Is that when she's going to be able to bring her kids to the United States, or I'm very, very curious about that. Ramster says Matt was Jasmine's side piece. She says the pregnancy was an accident. Sure, Jan. Exactly, please. Wasn't she saying something about the condom came off in the shower? Who the hell is boning with a condom in the shower, girl? Like, just say you were trying to anchor your place now that marriage didn't work out, Tamara says, I admire people who have the courage to move to a different country. I still live in the city I was born in. Listen, half courage, half craziness, because half the time, especially when I'm dealing with visa stuff, speaking of, I do have to go back to La Préfecture the 9th of December to go pick up my new visa. I'm like, God, why did I do this? Why did I do this? But you're in so deep that you just can't, you can't turn back, so honestly, it's not all it's cracked up to be. It's great, but it's really, really, really tough as well, Tamara. Sometimes it is nice to just, have the comfort of the city you grew up with, friends nearby, family nearby, and all that stuff too. I think both are great. Hey, Aria, nice to see you. Ramster says you should rewatch Gino and Jasmine's time in Panama. Your respect for her will melt like snow in the sun. Is that what she was taking the money he was sending and using it to get her butt done? Ramster says she'll now go to the gateway to keep the story going. I call it. You really think has she already shown signs of like being into women? Because I feel a little bit MIA on that. Ali says, why would you want to raise your kids in this ghetto ass country? Listen, I say this every time. I'm like, Jasmine, you're from Panama. Panama's doing pretty damn well. Your weather is really good. Like, there's a lot of people trying to escape to your country. Like, why would you leave your kids behind, to go to Michigan? First of all, too, shout out to y'all who live in Michigan. I'm sure you're wonderful people, but the idea of leaving your like tropical country behind to go live in Michigan with Gino, like, it's insanity. You know what I mean? Like, I am. All right. And I agree, Veronica. It's just, I think it's a financial thing. I wish they would be more open about that. Like, it's a finances thing. Jasmine needs a place to stay. But honestly, at her age, how old is this chick? Like, is she not like mid-40s or something like that? Like, this is really how you want to live the rest of your life? Like, dependent on like a man for like a place to stay and this and that? Like, you know what I mean? Like, come on. I just don't get it. It makes me sad for her. I really think that she should have just gone back home. Lexi says, I think it's amazing to move abroad. I wish I did before I made roots and got pets. Listen, maybe you'll be able to at another point, like there's a lot of people who hang on to their dream and then they eventually, move abroad for retirement or something like that. So, like it's never too late. It really isn't. And I hope that you get to eventually. Now, you guys, I want to get into Kail's podcast. I was listening to this podcast episode today, the Frenemies with Becky podcast. They had somebody from TikTok on who I guess is a fan of Kail's and was there asking them some questions. And so there were some interesting responses that Kail had. So she was talking a bit about the filming, but unfortunately, the person who was asking them questions, I forget who it was, but, this person, I don't think they watched Teen Mom that deeply because a lot of the questions he asked were things that we've already known, right? Either through Kail's books or through the show, right? About like how filming works, like them having to recreate and stage moments that had already happened, like, etc. We didn't get any juicy information about Chris, Elijah, like that sort of thing. But however, Kail did talk about how she well, here's the thing. This person is like, well, there's some rumor for some reason, I don't know why, that says that you treat your kids differently based on whether you like the dad or not, right? And I'm like, that's not some rumor that came out of nowhere. That's something that Kail said out of her own damn mouth. Y'all know that I recap her podcast, especially for my channel members. And that particular podcast shocked me. And so I made a video about it. And I specifically remember this episode. And the example that she mainly used was Lincoln and how Lincoln sometimes like she feels not an animosity towards him, but she does feel herself behave differently with him depending on whether or not she's getting along with Javi, right? And so then she goes on to say that, that might be, or Lincoln is always very perceptive to when she's fighting with Javi and stuff like that, or just things like that. Maybe Chris's kids, I don't remember specifically, but I do 1000% categorically, without a shadow of a doubt, remember that she's the one who said this out of her own mouth on one of her podcasts. You guys can also let me know if you remember it, right? Give me one quick second, actually, because I do have some more notes about this podcast, but it's actually on my phone rather than on my computer. So give me a second. I'm going to go grab that to continue with the recap from this particular podcast, okay? So I am back. I've got my notes, and I really want to like see you guys' comments in the chat. So let me head on over there because I believe that some of you guys might listen to the podcast as well. And if you don't listen to the podcast, maybe you just remember me telling you about the podcast in this particular episode, right? But I definitely 1000% did a recap on it because I was quite stunned by what it is that she says. And then Becky, you know, one thing I like about Becky is she's always going to kind of like hold her to task, right? So about 26 minutes and a half into the podcast, there's a moment where they're talking about whether or not Kail and Becky actually hooked up or whatever, right? And so Becky says, listen, all of these rumors about Kail and I and whether or not we're hooking up, these are things that were intentional. So, you know, why don't I actually go ahead and pull up that clip so that you guys can like listen to it for yourselves. But essentially, and this is something that we all knew that Kail likes to do. And this is something that kind of like, I feel like it doesn't help the bisexual community. And Kail, you know, she says she's bisexual. But one thing about her is that she seems to queer bait a lot, right? For attention. And, you know, there are already so many negative stereotypes about, you know, bisexual women in particular, about it, you know, being more so of a performative thing, not being real, or maybe only being actually interested in women, but romantically interested in men, and, you know, kind of the whatever that all of that comes with, right? So take a listen to this. And I want to get you guys' opinions because you have Becky calling Kail out for queer baiting in order to get attention to distract from the affair that she was having with Chris while married to Javi. So go ahead and take a listen.
I think
my whole life is offended.
Yeah.
I mean, didn't people speculate? Did people speculate?
You know, one time.
Yeah, it was planned.
It was not planned.
Oh,
The speculations? Yes, it was.
What are you talking about?
Like people thinking that we were dating.
I did.
Wait,
Yeah.
that was planned?
Yeah. We've talked about this before. There was something.
You see how she's playing dumb? That was planned. Girl, it was planned, and you're the one who came up with it because you're the public figure in this particular case, right? Again, some people don't like Becky, but one thing I like about her is she's always going to call Kail out. She's always low-key dragging her on this podcast, y'all. I'm telling you.
Happening, and you were like, we need to feed into this.
And you were like, we should make out. And I was like, okay. And then we made out.
That sounds wrong.
You said we needed to steer the ship and to avoid people looking at this. So let's get them to look at this.
Listen, I don't remember that part, but I believe you.
Yeah. Why do you think the whole marriage boot camp was about? Am I the reason that you and Javi got divorced?
I thought it just naturally went that way.
Oh my God. The answer is no. We've never dated. We've never had a romantic relationship. We've never had like any type of.
We've never
anything.
said
No. That would be funny though.
So there you go, you guys. Becky essentially says that she and Kail were pretending to be dating or to be romantically into each other simply to distract the fact that her marriage was ending and she was, you know, she had Chris waiting in the wings, right? Like they wanted as much speculation about whether or not she's going to have this, you know, lesbian relationship or whatever, because for some reason that's still scandalous to people, and people to ignore that she had a whole, you know, side man. And that she was allegedly pregnant with this man's baby already, right? A mess overall. Ronnie says she's a horrible parent. She even said all these broken homes. Miss Petty Betty would treat her children different. Like, I think it's so just not okay, right? To be treating our kids based off of how you're getting along or not getting along with their fathers. Because one thing about Kail is she's never getting along with all the dads anyway, or with most of the dads. Like maybe she'll get along with one for a little bit, but it's never for long. For now, it's only Elijah. For a bit, it was only Javi. You know, then it was only Joe. Now in this podcast episode, she talks about how she and Joe haven't even spoken in God knows how long and whatnot, right? And exactly, Kimmy, they didn't ask to be there. Like, you have to do your best to give them a nice life because you're the one that decided to usher them into this world, right? And so just to hear that was really, really shocking and alarming. Lexi remembers that podcast episode as well, right? So it's crazy to me that she's suddenly acting like this was made up by random people and whatnot, right? Versus owning up to the fact that this is something that she said out of her own damn mouth. Princess says both her and Amber say they're bi, but literally just hook up with girls when they're not dating men. And unfortunately, that is what the image that they portray and whatnot, right? And then when you're going on to create these fake rumors and stuff to make it as salacious as possible, it just also doesn't help at all. So I don't know, y'all. Listen, Two Snap says the LGBT doesn't want you, Kail. Damn, not Kail getting kicked out of the LGBT, right? And exactly, Cammy, right? She's really there for Aubrey and whatnot. And by the way, I want to watch an episode of that HD TV show of theirs. I have that channel now. And I want to see how their design is going. Are you guys keeping up with that show? Do they ever spill any kind of like actual personal tea on there? And exactly, Allie, she's panicking. She's like trying to act like so confused. Girl, we know damn well you did that. It's your playbook. You have always done that. I think she did that with Daddy Dom as well, right? She used her while she was still with Chris. She's, that's her thing though. She uses women for the press and everything. Meanwhile, what's she doing behind the scenes? Becky says Kail is a liar. Both are true. They hooked up and they used it for attention. And I agree. And that's something that like podcast Becky says as well. She's like, listen, one thing about me is I love attention. Okay. I love attention. I love the attention I get from being Kail's friend. And I like that she is at least honest about that, but that just goes to show you that she was feeding into this sort of thing for her own personal attention as well. And exactly, Lexi, oh my God. A mess. And Terry, I can't stand that either. It's such a disservice to the bisexual community to be doing this sort of thing. It's really not okay in my personal opinion. All right. Agree, Tamara. That's why she's got to be careful with that stuff. I love Technoblade. Hey, boo. I think Kail has read our comments and is just trying to save face. I understand her childhood, but she literally was on a show that promoted birth control. Exactly. She knew what website to go on to get some birth control. She didn't have to do all this, and I get a lot of people, and it's true. Yeah, she had a rough childhood, but listen, at a certain point, it's your own responsibility to make good choices, right? You can't be using that as an excuse when you're like 30 something, raw dogging somebody you don't know and getting pregnant by them. I'm sorry, but I had a rough childhood. I don't know, 25 years ago doesn't account for you doing this sort of thing anymore, in my personal opinion. Tamara says, I like Chelsea's home improvement show mainly because I missed her on Teen Mom. It's good though. Listen, I'm going to try to find it. I do have that channel, but I don't know when it airs or whatnot, but I want to see what they've got going on over there. Right? Does she really on Snapchat? Oh wait, Chelsea posts on Snapchat. Listen. Okay, I'm going to have to check that out. Thank you guys. Let's see if I have any other notes. Speaking of Chelsea, so she compares herself to Chelsea a little bit, you guys, right? So how like Chelsea has had like a stable group of friends like throughout her time on TV and whatnot. Meanwhile, Kail has had a revolving door of friends similar to her revolving door of baby daddies. Well, Kail says, hey, the reason that Chelsea is able to have stable friendships and I'm not is because Chelsea had familial support. Right? Her parents were always there for her. She didn't need to go and find validation in friends and other people. Like she already had that rooted in her. And she also said that she needed help, right? And support. And so she would go to friends as support, helping her with her kids and whatnot. Right. And so she says that like, her being so open and so desperate for support and approval and validation and all that stuff, it opened up the door for users to come in her life. However, I kind of feel like she was using them too, right? Because when you're saying that you're creating friendships because you need help watching your kids and whatnot, like, are you not using people? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think that it was a one-way street, right? I think that Water was seeking its own level. She was seeking to use people in her own way, like for community, because she was missing that in her life, and particularly in the form of child care and whatnot. And people were seeking to use her for attention as well. However, I don't think that all of her friendships fell out because of people seeking the limelight. There were very different reasons, right? So, for example, her fallout with Becky, this is something that they discussed in the first episode. It had to do with her and her on and off again toxic relationship with Chris Lopez and Becky being tired of it. Same thing with, what's Pepper Ann's name? What is her name? The girl who like does that weird vagina farting stuff on the podcast. What is her name? Oh, Bonehead. Like her fallout with Bonehead was the same thing, right? It had to do with Chris. So for you to go and say, oh, I can't keep a friend, it's because they all want to be famous. Look at the people who you actually let have a mic and see what they're saying. they had nothing to say about like the fame, the this, the that. Granted, they do like the attention. However, their issue with you is mainly the fact that like your life is just chaotic, right? And Becky says this as well. She said that Kail's life in general at that point was just chaotic. Too many people around, too much going on, too much drama all the time. And it was just overwhelming for her as a friend and as an outsider and whatnot. And so Kail also kind of doubles down on what she's been saying for a while, which is that she was never close with Joe's mother, Janet. In fact, she says that she was more so close with Joe's father, Eddie, instead, and blah, blah. She said that Janet essentially was kind of like nice with strings attached. I'm like, girl, why are you always coming for this lady? Like, but listen, maybe there's more to their relationship that meets the eye. Maybe it wasn't properly portrayed on the show, because that's something that Kail really wants for people to know, right? Jade says Kail uses these women for attention and to say I'm bi, and goes back to men to have kids. She needs to grow up. Listen, I actually would love to see an episode of her unpacking this, right? Maybe it's something that could be done in conversation with Becky. Maybe it's something that can be done on a solo episode, but I really would like to see her unpack this and her pattern of behavior involving, women over the past several years. Wouldn't that be interesting? I think so. Shalisa says, did you see her posting all the kids' school pics? It seems like she's cool with Elijah's family. No, I didn't see that. Hang on. Let me go check this out. I think that's great. What I've heard also is that, she and Elijah have always been on good terms, even despite the cheating and whatnot. I gotta say, here's the one thing. I actually think, so I'm looking at her post, I don't see it. I think that she and Elijah are able to be on such good terms because she never actually loved that man. You know what I mean? Like, if you don't have like a heartbreak and this and that, like, when someone cheats on you, it's because you didn't love that person like that. You know what I mean? And so it makes it easier to get along with them rather than being like so vengeful and stuff. And so, yeah, just saying. Two Snap says Wawa should ban Kail from all locations in America. Listen, be on the lookout for the rocking Mercedes cars in there. She's out there making babies in them parking lots. She said cannot stand Chelsea. Listen, she is annoying. I'll give you that. I'm definitely not gonna lie. I miss her on Teen Mom with all the babies. And thank you guys. Yes, Bonehead Lord. I don't know where she picked that one up from, but ugh. Scraping the barrel there. Terry said, why put pressure on a family when you can do it to your friends? Yuck. Right? I'm like, okay, so you're talking about wanting these people to help you with your kids, but like, they're the users? Okay. Ali says, Janet probably saw what was going down at Wawa. She was just trying to buy some beef jerky and fill up her car. Looked over to the side. Hey, Social Wallflower, nice to see you. Nice to see you, boo. I feel like you're an OG. I think I remember you from like way back when. Nice to see you. Glad you're able to join. Becky says Kail doesn't like Janet because Kail only likes females that are yes men. Janet was good to her and stuck up for her a lot during their relationship. Kail disrespected their house and Janet was done. And that's what I think it was too. Right? From what I remember watching on the show, Janet was the one who would typically be there to calm down Joe when Joe was being aggressive towards Kail. Like the way that Joe behaved on that show towards Kail, especially when she was poor, was disgusting. Like it was so verbally abusive, in my opinion. Janet is Joe's mom, Delisa. That was really, really uncalled for. And Janet's the one who would stop in and tell him to, to calm down and all that stuff, right? More so than the father. So I do find it to be very, strange that she's got so much hostility towards her in particular. Anyway, just saying. Terry says, listen, if you park by me and my boo at a certain time, that's on you. Oh my God. This reminds me of when I parked next to that lady who pulled up and she was like looking left and right and blowing in her breathalyzer to like get her car started when she came out of the grocery store and whatnot. I didn't know she snuck Jordan in the house. I thought she was just sneaking out to meet him and whatnot. Oh my God. That's even worse than I thought. The fact that there are people that would defend this is crazy. Janet was right. Like one thing about Kail is she is a fertile myrtle. Especially because she is not wrapping anything up. She is not using any kind of contraceptives, right? You don't want that type of liability in your house running around dating and whatnot. Kail, if you're going to be staying in their house, you had to play by those rules, right? Just to stop dating. How hard is that? You have a freaking newborn baby and you're like a teenager. What are you thinking about dating even for, right? And this is like a mentality that she has never really let go of. You know what I mean? Because now look at her. Anyway, you guys, why don't we get into our final story of the day? I wanted to quickly get into the Diddy documentary, y'all. It has been weighing heavy on me. It is a heavy, heavy documentary. Just seeing all of these allegations against him and his allegedly just terrible history of violence and whatnot. Like, there's a rapper, Keefe D, I believe, who admitted to being the one to delete Tupac. And he said that he did it because Diddy said that he would offer $1 million for the heads of Tupac and Suge Knight. And so the night that Tupac was deleted, he was being driven around by Suge Knight. It was in Las Vegas. They were there for a Mike Tyson fight, and they were going on an after party. And on their way there, somebody who had like shot Tupac previously or something like that was spotted by Tupac, and Tupac and his friends like stomped him out, the gang members and whatnot. And then later, the inevitable happened, right? There was even a juror there in the first episode, but then the juror just kind of disappeared after that. I'm still waiting to see. I'm on the final episode now, about a quarter of the way through. But I thought that was interesting that they were coming, showing their faces, their names and everything, no fear, which, okay, go ahead. I really hope that they're safe, right? And then, there was another moment at the beginning of the documentary where you see Diddy speaking to his lawyer. Like, he's just so amped up. He's really like panicking and stuff about his future. And he's asking his lawyer to hire a dirty person in the business of propaganda, either from the US or another country. So obviously he's probably thinking of Russia, right? Propaganda is a very, very strong business. I think I remember in about 2016, a documentary coming out from somebody whistleblowing about how Russian bot farms and whatnot, or some kind of like crazy Facebook farming company with a bunch of fake profiles was used to influence the American elections. So I think that that's something that he was kind of like calling towards and whatnot, right? And you know what I have to say to Snaps, like, my French lover had the same thing because we were watching it together last night. And so this morning he's like, oh my God, I had nightmares about Diddy. I was like, oh Lord, you poor thing. I had nightmares that my face was crooked. Like you were having serious nightmares over there. Oh my God, it's crazy, absolutely crazy. But like, that's the thing, the stories that you're hearing. And now hearing about like some of the prostitutes that they were hiring to sleep with Cassie are speaking and talking about, there was something he shares about, just his bodily fluids that just horrified me for Cassie. There's a lot going on. Other women are coming forward. Lil Rod is also coming forward. There's a lot of people who are speaking out, and the stories just get worse and worse. It's really, really hard to watch. Listen, I watched 3 episodes back to back, right? I do not recommend that. Truly, get a palate cleanser in between the episodes because it'll weigh heavy on you. It really will. This guy is soulless. Even at the beginning of his career, do you guys remember in the 90s where he over-promoted a party? There was way too many people there, and then some people wound up passing away. Well, he was obviously sued by these people, and then shortly thereafter, he makes it big. He starts making all this money. He opens up Bad Boy Records. And he decides to put his stake of that company in his mother's name, right? So that the victims who deserve to be made whole would never be able to touch that money. Like, that just shows you how dark his heart is, right? Like, when you've got millions of dollars rolling in, why wouldn't you want to make things right, for the families of the people that passed away because of your own greed and decisions, There's also, speaking of the stake of Bad Boy and everything, the shares. So he had 75% and his business partner had 25%. Guys, when I saw that guy had 25%, I said, there's no way Diddy would have let him have 25%. That's way too big, right? And so sure enough, the business partner tells a story about how one day he's in his office, Diddy comes in with like a contract and a baseball bat tied to a briefcase holding the contract. And he says, you are going to sign this. You're signing away your 25%. All sorts of things like that, right? And a lot of times in this, documentary, you'll hear about Diddy, thank God, God is the greatest. I'm doing this all for God. And it evolves into, I am God. I am. It's so creepy how much money changed him. His business partner, or ex-business partner, I should say, co-founder of Bad Boy, was saying, listen, when I met him, he never drank. He didn't believe in drugs. He wanted to stay away from that stuff, right? Like, he was just never around that. And now hearing like that, just all of a sudden, like, he became an addict and like he drank so much. He's a brand ambassador for Ciroc. It's a completely different person, right? Money truly changes people. So when it comes to the rug addiction, apparently it's because of some sort of injury. So either he slit his wrist or something happened with Kim where she injured him, but then he wound up in the hospital and he needed Percocets for that or whatever. And they said that might be where all of this kind of began. And Veronica, this is a great point. The Biggie stuff was also horrifying. Like, he knew that Biggie would have been deleted, right? Because right after they allegedly had Tupac deleted, what did they do? They went to the West Coast, where Tupac is from, right? To kind of like brag and just be cocky as hell, right? Like a victory lap almost. And of course, that led to the passing of Biggie. And I think that Diddy knew that would happen. Biggie was supposed to be in and out. Biggie didn't even want to go there in the first place. He knew how dangerous it could be, right? But he was supposed to go to London the next day. And Diddy's like, you know what? We're canceling everything for London on the press junket. We're staying here. So the ex-business partner is like, I think that Diddy ushered him towards his death. And so what Veronica's talking about, which is the funeral for Biggie, Diddy's like doing all these interviews. I can't believe it. My brother's dead. I'm going to take care of his family, like blah, blah. So he has the biggest funeral for this man. And at this point, Diddy is so rich. He's a multimillionaire. He could have paid for a good funeral out of his own pocket, but he made it as big as possible. And then he charged it to Biggie's estate. And the Bad Boy artists weren't making any money. Everybody associated with him is dead or in jail or broke. Like it was bad. It was bad. Tamara, I do not blame you. It is bad. It is it is hard to watch. It's necessary. Like if you really want to dig into his history and everything. However, it is hard to watch, right? And there is nothing behind his eyes, right? He's so soulless. That's something that you really, really do see and notice the more and more you watch it. Like just the things he does, oh my God, absolutely horrific. Thanks, Becky. And exactly like father, like son. So I'm at that part where Lil Rod is telling a story about how he and his son, you remember in the lawsuit that we read together, he said that Diddy and Justin Combs went to a bathroom in a recording studio and just like shot somebody together, allegedly. Like they get into that. And then we get into how allegedly they do rugs together, drink together, and do the freak offs together. Like that's so crazy. Listen, there's so many perverted celebrity fathers out there in the open, and adjacent. So like sometimes you hear about these people talking about bringing their children to strip clubs and stuff. I'm like, that to me feels like abuse. That to me feels like perversion, because what do you talk about? You're going to a strip club to get turned on, by naked people with your children. You know what I mean? Like very, very creepy. Speaking of Todd the Opportunist, this is something he talked about doing with his daughter. Like, no, this stuff is not normal, but for some reason, like they get to just casually say it like it is, and exactly, Terry, his mother, right? The documentary opens up talking about how, his mother ran a type shit, whooped his behind as well, and got involved in her own kind of shady activities that may have led to or contributed to this being normal for Diddy. And I think that might be why he thinks it's normal to bring his own kids around this sort of stuff as well, right? Caramel says the Rolling Stone cover was exactly that too. It was supposed to have Biggie on the cover as a tribute, but Diddy said, nope, it's going to be mine. I got an album to promote, right? And so he was running around everywhere using Biggie's name to launch his rapping or whatever career, right? And so, yeah, it was rough, you guys. I only have 40 minutes left of the final episode, but I'm going to have to take a break because it is weighing heavy on me. Yes, Veronica, that too. He called that business partner, hey, come to my office. The guy comes. There's a chick blowing him. And he's like, what do you need me for? He goes, nothing. Just all sorts of stuff like that. It's so ugly. It's so ugly. This guy is such a demon. He really, really is. And I think I think it's worth the watch, Winnie. And anybody else who's looking into it, it's definitely worth the watch, but it's going to be very, very upsetting, especially just honestly, the entire thing from front to back. It's just upsetting. So, feel free to take some breaks in between the episodes and whatnot. Okay. Anyway, you guys, listen, as usual, I've had the greatest time chatting with you. And I'm really looking forward to being back tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time with more of the day's hottest stories. Thank y'all so much for being here. By the way, I saw some last minute people popping in, so I wanted to say some hellos to them before I bounced out of here. I feel like I might have accidentally forgot. Oh, who joined us like last? Someone was like, hey, I'm here, but I'm watching from the beginning. It's Faye. Well, good morning to you too, Faye. So glad you could be here. And good morning to you too, Gwen. Hopefully you guys will join the Playback Posse, and I'll see y'all tomorrow at 10 a.m. Thank you guys. Take care. And if you enjoyed it, please don't hesitate to go ahead and give this video a thumbs up.